Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Students, in the last class we learnt about the various kinds of life insurance policies, that is whole life policy, endowment assurance policy, joint life policy, annuity and children's endowment policy. Okay, then we learnt about fire insurance, the various elements of fire insurance contract. Okay, so today we will learn about marine insurance. What is marine insurance? It is the insurance which provides protection against marine losses. Okay? It is the insurance which provides protection against losses by the perils of the sea. Example is, if the ship is attacked by enemies, or if the ship catches fire, okay, or it is captured by enemies, all these causes losses to the owner of the ship, right? So marine insurance provides protection against these losses. Here the insurer is called as the underwriter. Okay, the insurer in this case is called as the underwriter, and he is paid a certain amount of money by the insured for the as a compensation for the losses. Okay, the underwriter is paid a certain amount of money by the insured to compensate the losses. Okay, so marine insurance is a device wherein the insurer will compensate the owner of the ship, that is the underwriter, or cargo for complete or partial loss of sea. Okay, so this is marine insurance. Here there are three things involved. Okay, that is ship or hull insurance, cargo insurance and freight insurance. First one is the ship insurance. This is the insurance policy which provides protection against damages caused to the ship. Okay, this is ship insurance. Next one is cargo insurance. The cargo, while being transported by the ship, is subject to many risks. Okay, the risk may be theft, okay, or loss of goods, theft at the ports, loss of goods due to fire or any other damages. Okay, so this insurance, that is cargo insurance, can be issued to cover against such risks. Okay, this is cargo insurance. Next one is freight insurance. Now what is freight? Now the person who sends goods through ship, he has to pay a certain amount of money to the shipping company, which is called as freight charges. Okay, now if the goods does not reach its destination, he will not pay the freight charges. Okay, so if the cargo does not reach the destination due to damage or loss in transit, the shipping company is not paid the freight charges. Okay, so freight insurance will protect the shipping company against such losses. Okay, clear? Freight charges means it is the charges paid by the person who sends the goods to the shipping company. Okay, so freight insurance provides protection to the shipping company against freight losses. Okay, these are the three things involved in marine insurance, that is ship or hull insurance, cargo and freight insurance. Next one is the principles of marine insurance. The marine insurance, unlike life insurance, it is a contract of indemnity. Okay, that is the insured person will recover the actual amount of loss from the insurer. Okay, so it is a contract of indemnity. Next one, it is a contract of utmost good faith. That is, the insurer and the underwriter both have to have good faith among each other. Okay. Next one, there must be insurable interest at the time of loss. I have explained this to you all in the earlier classes, the meaning of insurable interest. Okay, so here insurable interest must be there at the time of loss. Okay, but it need not be necessarily present when the policy was taken, but compulsorily insurable interest must exist at the time of loss. Okay, last one is the principle of causa proxima will apply. Causa proxima means the nearest cause. the insurance company has to pay only if the nearest cause for the loss is covered by the policy. Okay, for example, if the loss is caused by several reasons, then the nearest cause will be considered. Okay, so this is about marine insurance. So the next topic is communication services. Okay, now any business cannot exist in isolation. Okay, they have to have links with the outside world. That is, they have to have contact with the suppliers, with their competitors, with their customers, etc. Okay, that is why they have to have effective communication facilities. In order to get good ideas and information regarding their products, they have to have proper communication with their customers and with their suppliers. The communication services have to be accurate and fast. Only then their business can be effective. Okay. The main services which help business are postal and telecom. Postal services and telecom services. In India, the Postal and Telegraph Department provides various kinds of services. Okay, there are nearly 22 postal circles in India. They provide many financial facilities such as the Kisan Vikas Patra, the PPF, that is Public Provident Fund, National Saving Certificates, and they also have various savings account, recurring deposit, money order facilities. Okay. Next one is mail facilities. Mail services and parcel facilities from one place to another is provided by the Postal and Telegraph Department in India. Okay. They provide international money transfer as well, speed post facilities, and at present e-bill post, that is the latest service which is provided by the Post and Telegraph Department. That is, bills can be paid across the counter. BSNL and Bharati Airtel bills can be paid at the Postal and Telegraph Department. Okay. Next one is the telecom services. Now, telecom services is said to be the backbone of every business activity. The various kinds of telecom services are cellular mobile services, fixed line services, cable services, and we also have satellite services such as the VSAT services and DTH services. Okay. So these are the various kinds of telecom services which are provided in India. Next one is transportation. Now, transportation comprises freight services along with all other auxiliary services by the three modes of transportation, that is rail, road and air. Okay. Now, transportation will remove the hindrance of place, that is, it makes the goods and products easily available to the consumer from the place of production. That is why we need to have a good transportation system. Okay, to keep with the changing requirements of our economy, we need to have a good transportation system. We also have to have a good infrastructure with good roads. Okay. Next one is warehousing. Warehousing is an important aspect in business. Okay, that is the goods which are produced have to be stored. Okay, they have to be stored well so that they do not perish. Okay. Earlier, these items, that is the products, were moved manually to the warehouse. Okay, and it was piled in stacks. But now, at present, there are automatic conveyors. Okay. Earlier it was done manually, but now at present there are automatic conveyors. Computer operated cranes are used for moving the goods from one place to another. Okay. So at present, warehousing is done in such a way that the goods are available at the right quantity, at the right place and at the right time, okay, and also in the right physical form at the right cost, okay. Now there are various kinds of warehouses. First one is private warehouses. Now these private warehouses are the warehouses which are owned by the company, okay, which are owned by the private company to store their own products, okay. Private warehouses are owned by the company, or it is leased by the company to store their own products. They don't store the products of other companies, okay. This is private warehouses. Public warehouses, they are used for storage of goods by traders, manufacturers, etc. in return for a certain charge, okay. Public warehouses, it can be used by anyone, by any trader or any manufacturer, by paying a certain amount of money. This is regulated by the government. The operation of these public warehouses is looked after by the government, okay. For this, the traders have to they require a license, okay. They require license in order to store their products in public warehouses. Next one is, okay, one of the benefit of public warehouses that it is beneficial to the small manufacturers, because they cannot afford to construct their own warehouse, okay. They cannot afford to lease or construct their own warehouses, so they can pay a certain amount of money and store their product in these warehouses. Next one is the bonded warehouses. Bonded warehouses, they are licensed by the government to accept imported goods, okay. That is, when goods are imported from other countries, they are kept in these warehouses until the companies pay the custom duties. Only when they pay the custom duties, the goods can be given to them. So until they pay the custom duties, these imported products will be stored in these bonded warehouses, okay. These bonded warehouses, they have other facilities as well, such as branding, packaging, grading and blending, okay. And also the companies, they can pay the custom duties in part, okay. They can pay it in installment. As and when they pay the money, they can remove part of the goods, okay. So this is about bonded warehouses. Next one is government warehouse. They are fully owned and managed by the government, okay. For example, Food Corporation of India, State Trading Corporation and Central Warehousing Corporation. So government warehouses are the warehouses which are fully owned by the government. Cooperative warehouses. Some of the marketing cooperative societies and agricultural cooperative societies, they set up their own warehouses for their members, okay. We have learnt about the cooperative societies in the earlier chapters, right. So these cooperative societies, they set up their own warehouses only for their members, okay. That is cooperative warehouses. Okay, next one is the functions of warehousing. Warehousing has the following functions, that is consolidation, breaking the bulk. It is not bill, students, it's a mistake, it is breaking the bulk. Stockpiling, value added services, price stabilization and financing. First one is consolidation. Here the warehouse will receive materials or goods from various production companies, okay. Products from various production companies are received by the warehouse, and it will dispatch these products to one customer on a single shipment, okay. That is consolidation. Various products are received from various production plants, but it is sent to one customer in a single shipment. That is consolidation. Breaking the bulk, this is opposite to consolidation. Here the goods which are received from the various production plants are divided into smaller quantities, okay, and these smaller quantities are sent to various customers, okay. Here the goods are divided into smaller quantities, and these smaller quantities are sent to various customers. Next one is stockpiling. Stockpiling means the goods are stored and it is as and when there are requirements, it is sent to the customer. Okay, the goods are stored in the warehouse and depending on the customer's demand, the goods are given to the customer. Okay, next one is value added services. Other than the regular services, the warehouses also provide various value added services, that is packaging, labeling, grading, etc. Okay, because sometimes in the warehouse the goods have to be opened and repackaged, okay, at the time of inspection. So that is why these warehouses also provide various value added services such as packaging and labeling. Okay, next one is price stabilization. Warehousing also performs the function of stabilizing the prices. Okay, as and when there is demand, the prices, as and when there is demand for the products, the prices are controlled and stabilized by the warehouses. Last one is financing. The warehouse owners sometimes they even give goods on credit terms to their customers. Okay, so they provide certain financing facilities. Okay, so these are the various functions of warehousing. So here we come to the end of this chapter, business services. Okay, students, I want to tell you all one thing. For the last Viva, some students have studied from the summary given in your textbook. Okay, please don't study from that because what is given in the summary is very complicated. Okay, it's very complicated. Study which is given in your lesson, that is easier actually. Okay, don't study from the summary. The answers are very complicated there. Okay, yeah, that's all students, that's all for today.